Here are 5 reasons why you should play Flow of War, a completely new, solo-developed RTS with a special mix of classic RTS and wave defense gameplay that is super beginner-friendly and despite simple looks has a lot of interesting economy and base building mechanics. It's out now on Steam and still has a demo you can try out before deciding to buy it. The main reason I even wanted to show off Flow of War on release is because this indie developer put in the effort to manually design 30 missions and organize them into a campaign of sorts, which not only teaches you the gameplay a few elements at a time, but gives you unique challenges to overcome. I do, however, advise you play the 3 well put together and short tutorials first, despite being able to jump into the main campaign, as Flow of War has some specific production chains. They are not very obvious and sometimes not exactly logical, so as I said, starting with the tutorials is the best way to go. Also, because of its 2D design, you have to learn the pathfinding and how much room units and workers need to be able to move around all the buildings or farms you can construct, as you can easily start to block off parts of the map if you're not aware of this. But as you move past the initial onboarding missions, you start to discover many more ways to design and optimize your base for defense while learning how to fight all the different enemy types and how best to use your own units, defensive structures and traps, most of which you unlock using the tech tree. Both I and the game's developer understand that going with the wave defense gameplay is the easier route than having a storytelling campaign. But just because this is Flow of War's 1.0 version doesn't mean the dev has abandoned plans to make a more story and character-oriented version in the future. The success of this game would be a springboard and financial foundation for more content and new games. The second reason why I recommend playing Flow of War is to experience what can be achieved with this kind of 2D design even in 2026. You get the top-down camera, which makes everything easy to see. The grid-based system makes sure you don't have problems or surprises when planning out your base layout, while the old-school pixel art targets your nostalgia for games which started this genre. I do understand this visual design also puts off some of you who might not want to give the game a shot just on the basis of how it looks. But you also have to remember that solo indie projects can't all look as good as some others I have shown you before on my channel. Very often, high quality or even Unreal Engine produced looks are so time consuming, devs spend far less time making custom single player content for the game. And that leads me to my third and fourth reasons why you might like this game, because not only does it have a custom map mode, but also comes with an in-game map editor. What the custom map mode lets you do is to generate a map by first choosing its layout, which will decide the paths you need to take and the location of enemy spawn points. There is a good number of these that you can choose from. Then you can customize options from 3 separate categories, which are Warfare, Waves and Economy. This gives you almost complete control over the gameplay and lets you tailor much more than just the map, but also the whole gameplay experience. Because not only can you make the game easier or harder, or make it last longer, or make the matches shorter, but give yourself more time between enemy attack waves and choose what kind of units they will have available. I actually jumped into this mode to test it out before I even played the tutorial, and because, as I said, this game plays a bit differently than you might expect by its looks, I got destroyed by the very first enemy wave. The next reason why I recommend Flow of War to you is the in-game map editor. You can pick some of the already created maps or start from a near clean slate and use the available tools and all the game's elements to design and build your own map. But because this is more than just a map editor and more like a mission editor, you can edit the starting resource amounts, the number of enemy waves and their units. Editing the tech tree lets you customize the mission even more, meaning you can almost turn off the towers, for example, and make it a unit-only mission. I just wish this mode came with more instructions, as while it might be clear to the developer how to use it, new players need a tutorial or at least instructions. I hope the dev is paying attention. The fifth and final reason for which I can recommend Flow of War is because it is an incredibly beginner-friendly game. The workers are automated, meaning you don't get to control them manually in any way. At most, you can direct their actions by setting up new farms closer to faraway mines, and in doing so expand their operating range. This is actually covered in one of the tutorials. The units are not individually controlled either. Each barracks building lets you set up a rally point, which is also a sort of fight here command, which comes with its own targeting circle. While there are sort of production chains, like taking the water from the lakes and rivers and filling up water towers with it so it can be used by forges, none of this requires more extensive player action than just making sure everything is inside each other's operating range. By not having an enemy's base to destroy, but only yours to defend, you do lose one important aspect of RTS games. But on the other hand, you do get a more in-depth defensive system, with walls, towers and traps, as well as a tech tree and economy chains to balance at your own base. Certainly the game is not without its issues, like balancing some of the missions could be improved, as I don't feel like many other players play these except for the developer himself. The workers need a sort of come here and do this first tool, like the one that exists for tree cutting, and the UI could do with a massive artistic upgrade as well as a functional one. Boxes of UI elements stuck at the edges of the screen is such an outdated approach at this point. I hope these problems or issues won't distract you from having fun in Flow of War, however, as I did say it does have a demo for you to try out. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!